I love talismans. In fact, so much that when I learned how to make these talismans, I actually had a bit of a side business, if you will. So I learned how to make them back in 2007 when I was at that 1 year metaphysical mastery course. It was something that we learned at the time. And I loved it so much that I actually, as I said, offered it to other people as a service. And I had people take it up, they purchase it. And what I get them to do is actually write down what the intention for that talisman was. And I'll explain how I create it in a moment in this training. But it's like when we spoke about crystals, they can be imbued or charged with whatever it is that you want. And what they say is, and this is when I say they, it's like historically, because talismans and amulets have been used, hundreds if not thousands of years. But a talisman is an object that someone believes holds magical properties that can either, bring them luck, it can offer protection, whatever it might be. And as I said, amulets and talismans, the terms are kind of used interchangeably, but they say an amulet naturally has these magical or powerful properties, whereas a talisman must be charged or programmed with those powers or properties. So, as we said, it could be anything from, helping with abundance or love or, bringing in new customers. I remember I had one client and she wanted basically to have the Midas touch. And it's interesting, I've seen over the years, and I don't know how long she kept the talisman for, but I mean, she took it very seriously. And, I know that she was getting promotions and, really progressing. And then she met this great guy and they had a child, and she already had children with her previous husband. But it was just amazing how, she did go from strength to strength. So maybe that talisman had something to do with it. So interestingly, with talismans, what they say, according to the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, and we referenced that when we were talking about tarot cards. But what they said, this group was active in the UK during the late 19th and early 20th century. And they said a talisman is a magical figure. It is charged with the force with which it is intended to represent. So it's quite interesting. And they also said, this is the order, that caution, one must take great care in creating a talisman and ensure that the physical item's symbolism closely represents the intended purpose of the talisman. And they also note that the forces depicted by the item should be in harmony with those that you wish to attract. And we know that's always the case. You can't wish harm upon anyone else. And what I would suggest is it's best not to imbue it if you're wanting a particular, say, to attract a new relationship, rather than have a specific person in mind. It's more about the energy, the attributes, how you're going to feel when you're with that person, the qualities that you want to elicit, from the relationship and in yourself when you're around them. So are you ready to see how we can start making talismans? So first of all, what I would say is select an object that feels right for you. So what you can do is you can get a crystal, you can get a stone. It could be one that fits your astrological sign. It really could be anything that just you were drawn to. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be costly. I mean, you could even do it on a pen. It doesn't really matter, because we just want to be able to connect with its presence, its weight, its smell, its touch, and of course then be able to imbue it and charge it with this specific intention. So what I did is, when I had this business, Talismans of the Heart, I would visit a crystal shop and I would connect with the crystals, and I would just get a selection of crystals. And what I would then do is, when I then had an order, I would actually then meditate on which would be the most relevant for that person at that point in time. If I didn't feel the crystal selection that I had on hand was relevant, I would actually go to another crystal shop or to the markets or wherever, and I would actually, with that person's intention and energy, I would select one. Then what we want to do is we want to program the talisman with positive intentions. So what I would say is, first of all, as we know, you need to be able to cleanse it first, because if you're buying it from a shop, if you're buying it from the market, if it's something that you've already got on hand, it's likely that it has other energies on there which we don't want. So when we spoke about crystals and cleansing them, I would do the same, whether it's sage, whether it's putting it outside in moonlight or sunlight, or burying it using water, whatever it might be. But you just want to cleanse it first. And then what I want you to do is, when you're then programming it, you can program it the once, you can program it, intermittently. But the beauty of it is when you hold it, it's like it triggers that kind of memory of what it is that you're wanting to attain or achieve or feel. And, that can be a great sort of cue to just remind you, abundance, what would that feel like? That'd be great, whatever it might be. So when you actually do the charging, I would actually make it into a little ceremony. So one could actually take me, a good 20 minutes to half hour to create. So what I would actually do is I would usually do it at night, and I would have a little kind of circle set up, if you will. So I would have the crystals, and I would actually have almost like I would set it up with the 4 elements. I would have, the earth, the water, the air, the fire. And that's what, schools of magic kind of suggest is a good idea. You can go with your intuition. I would have various essential oils also. And because I felt that at times I wanted to program that talisman with essential oil frequencies as well. So you can have various things there, but you'd have the intention generally written down. That's kind of the paper element, and then because obviously you want to have that written down, it's always the best thing to do. And then I would actually then burn that, and I would then also imbue that talisman with the ashes. Plus then, after I've done that, I would then select intuitively the essential oils that I felt would just really further potentiate the effects of that, that particular intention. So what I would do, as I said in the ceremony, is I would, I would just have the talisman, I would have the intention there, I would then burn it. And while I'm doing it, it's sort of like and I'd have beautiful music playing, quite a spiritual kind of music. Sometimes I would even be drawn to do a particular chakra. So, there's various chakra frequency musics and things like that, or maybe it's a specific hertz frequency, the solfeggio sounds. Whatever it is, that's okay. As we know, it's all about energy, it's all about intention. And then, as I said, I would actually I would close my eyes, and I really kind of was very, as I said, it was like a sacred ceremony. And I would hold that talisman, that crystal, and with the ashes, with the essential oils, I would really just, connect with it. And I would connect with that person, I would connect with that intention. As I said, I would suggest just doing it for yourself. But, if I was doing it for someone else, I would really connect with that person, connect with their energy. And, and of course, because they hand wrote the intention, it has their energy and their vibration really just, that is being imbued into that talisman as well. But if it's just yourself that you're doing it for, that's absolutely fine. It's you holding it and you just really connecting with what it is that you want to, imbue or charge that talisman with. And then what I would do is I would almost just sit there and meditate with it, and I would just see if any kind of instructions came through. So sometimes I would intuitively get, that it would be great if they could put it under their pillow for 5 nights. Sometimes it would be, try and always have it with you, so near your energy field. So, maybe you're going to put it in your bra, or maybe you're going to keep it in your handbag if your handbag's often near you during the day. Or, other times it might be, like keep it next to your bed or under your bed for a week, or you could even keep it there indefinitely. But I would often say to people as well, just when you do touch it and pick it up, I would also suggest that you recharge it as well, because talismans are kind of like energy batteries, so their effectiveness can drop noticeably over time. And that's where what I would do is go back to, if you're doing it yourself, for yourself, I would go back to connecting with that intention again, with the talisman. You don't necessarily have to do the whole ceremony again. You can if you want to. I wouldn't go and put a whole nother intention into that same talisman. It's like this talisman is always going to be for that specific purpose or intention, if that makes sense. So it's actually really fun. So hopefully this makes sense, but essentially that's the main steps. It's really just, connecting with a particular crystal or object or gem or stone, whatever it is, and having your intention. So as I said, I would write down what that intention is, and then have a little bit of a sacred ceremony where maybe you have some beautiful music playing, you've got your intention, and, you bring in the fire element because you're actually, burning the intention. And then you're just like imbuing that crystal, that talisman, that gem with that intention. You might want to use essential oils. You might want to bring in, like sand or dirt or whatever other elements you feel. Sometimes I'll even add a little bit of water if I wanted to bring in that element. It was just what you're intuitively drawn to do. And then I was just sit and meditate with it, really just have that intention that you're impregnating and you're charging, and you're really just imbuing the energies of that which you want into that talisman, and then just wait and see sort of what instructions come through in terms of where you should place it or keep it. Or might just, if you don't know, that's fine. You might want to just keep it under your pillow or keep it next to your bed or keep it in your handbag. And then, as I said, just recharge it intermittently when you feel that you need to, and that could just be once again connecting with the intention. And if you do want to go through the ceremony again, by all means. But this is a lot of fun. So if you've got any questions, leave a comment. But yeah, I really encourage you to give it a go. So, maybe you want one for, bringing in new business. Fantastic. Find the object, have the intention, do the little ceremony, charge it, and then, keep it with you. Okay, have fun.